In the following is from an interview of a man who is a Gnostic, and this is what he said about the historical Jesus. Like, did Jesus really exist? And this is what he said in this following interview.
So first, because I get this asked a lot, like, what's the historical evidence for Jesus anyway? Like, he was just made up. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that there is actual historical evidence. So what are the main, like, key points that I can throw at people for that Jesus was a man?
Well, okay. So I have a book on this, actually. It's
Great.
called How Did Jesus Exist? And it's like, he's the best documented person from the first century of Israel, I think, by far. There's nobody else that has a single biography written about him. And so that's one thing. And the Gospels, of course, people discount the Gospels because they say, well, they're Christians, and so they don't really count. But historians don't deal with it that way. I mean, when you have somebody who's English writing about Churchill, they don't say, well, you can't trust him because he's English. It's like you look and see whether what he says is right. And so you've got, with the Gospels, you not only have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but you got the sources behind these Gospels. And so Matthew, Mark, and Luke, there's also a source that people call Q. Matthew has his own source that people call M. Luke has his own source called L. So you got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, MQL. You've got John's sources, which he's got several sources behind. So you have like you got almost 10 or so things just behind the Gospels. These are independent sources. These are not like dependent on each other. I'm just talking about independent sources.
Okay, they can like fact check what the Gospels.
Well, you can
how
see
the
what
Gospels got their information.
If you got 10 people talking about this guy, within 30 years, they're independent of each other. But then also, I mean, like, another big point is that the Apostle Paul personally knew Jesus' brother, James. He talks about it. And so, if Jesus didn't exist, you would think his brother would know about it.
Okay.
Right.
So that's kind of, so we've got like, there's like many sources that even historians are like, yeah, that's right.
This is not debated. There's not a university in my country or in your country where there's an expert in Judaism or Roman religion or antiquity, Greek or Christianity who doubts it. So,
okay.
But on the internet,
Great.
They do.
Number two.